Hi, this is Dr. Tobe Moma, host of Health and Wellness with Dr. Tobe. It's an honor to ask you to watch our show this coming few weeks with Dr. Jennifer Floyd. I'm the president of Faith and Power Ministries, also a family physician at the University of Mississippi Medical Center. It's an honor to host a guest every week on our show. This week we have a special guest. Her name is Jennifer Floyd. She's an optometrist. She's the leader, the founder, and the chief executive of Visual Difference in Ruston, Louisiana. This young lady has started her own outfit almost for the last 13 years, married for 22 years, finished from Louisiana Tech, and she's been a resource for the optometrical society in this part of the country. She's going to be educating you on what it takes to be an optometrist, on why you should see an optometrist, on the benefits of Jesus even in the life of an optometrist. This is Dr. Tobe Moma telling you to watch our show. I approve this message. God bless you. Hi, this is Dr. Tobe Moma, the host of Health and Wellness with Dr. Tobe. It's a delight to have you on our show. Don't touch that dial. We have a great show in store for you today. Dr. Jennifer Floyd is with me in the house. Dr. Jennifer is the MD in charge, is the managing director, chief executive. She's the founder of the Visual Difference in Ruston, Louisiana. She's an optometrist by training, and she's a homebred success story right here in the northeast part of Louisiana. Went to school in Arcadia High School, went on to Louisiana Tech, did her summer training in Memphis, and came back here to establish one of the foremost optometry centers in the northeastern part of Louisiana. It's a delight, it's a pleasure, it's an honor to welcome on my show today Dr. Jennifer Floyd. You're welcome, ma'am. Real pleasure. So what an honor to have you on our show. I know you're busy. Last time I called, they said you were in Baton Rouge. You have so much going on, and you're a mother, you're a wife, you're an entrepreneur, you're a Christian. I mean, tell me a little bit about yourself. Growing up in Arcadia, I mean, give us a background. How was it growing up? How were your parents, and what motivated you to move into your own self-employment story? Just give us a little brief. I don't know how old you are, and I don't want to get to know, but in the last how many years, how God has taken you from where you started from to where you are today.
Well, growing up in Arcadia was hard. It's a very small town. And actually, my father died when I was 8 years old. And I was raised primarily by my mother. And it's an interesting story. I'm going to kind of back up. So my mother and father got married at a very young age. My mother was actually 13.
Wow.
And my mother...
Only in Arcadia, right?
My mother came from a family of 10 and was very, very poor and didn't have a lot. And so along came my father, and he was 9 years older. They got married. My mom was 13.
Wow.
And a few months later, had my sister. She wasn't pregnant when they got married. That did not happen, okay? But after 9-10 months later, after being married at such an early age, my mother had my sister. After that point, she was told that she would have no other children. And she never used birth control or anything like that. And in her 40s, she started having problems. She was gaining weight, and she went to the doctor. They had actually diagnosed her with cancer. They told her that she had a tumor that was growing in her stomach, and that it had to be removed. And so they cut her open to remove the tumor, but it was me.
Wow, what a story.
When she came back awake, came to, the doctors and the nurses came into the room and they said, "We're so delighted, Miss Ayers, we got all the tumor. However, it has a head, 2 arms, 2 legs, and it's going to call you Mama."
This was St. Francis or Glenwood?
No, this was in Bossier City.
Bossier
I was born in
City.
Bossier City.
Wow.
And she said, "I don't want it." Wow. My father said, "I do. I do." He was so happy. She was 44, though.
Wow.
Okay. So growing up was very difficult. I didn't always have the best relationship with my mother, and I always felt like she didn't want me. And so I tried really hard to impress her and build that relationship. But going back and looking back, my mother was a great, great mother, okay?
Wow.
So one of the things she did teach me was to never give up, never settle, and you can be anything you want to be. You just have to have that determination. And foremost was to get an education that no one can take your education away from you, and that you can go anywhere in the world as long as you're educated.
That's an amazing story.
And it's like she didn't even really know how to read or write. I had to fill out checks for her.
Wow.
I had to do things. I had to be there for her.
Obviously, your sister was there too.
My sister, yes, but she was 27 and a half years older.
Older.
She had a child, and she had her own career as well.
Of course.
And
Wow.
so my sister was there, but I mainly was focused at school, because my mother wanted that for me. And at 8, my father passed away, and it was just she and I.
You and your mom.
Yeah,
Wow.
me and my mom.
Is she still alive?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She passed away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But she saw you become a graduate. I mean,
Yes,
she
she
saw
did.
you achieve those goals she wanted you to achieve.
She did. She
That's
did.
awesome.
She did.
That's a powerful
My sister
story.
didn't. My sister actually passed away. It's kind of a sad story, but my sister actually passed away, and my mother found her on Mother's Day. So our family has had a lot of trauma, but we have overcome that, and I look back at that and on those things, and going through it is so hard, dealing with the death of a father, death of a sister, death of my mom. But everything, looking back, God had such a role and just a hand on it for me to be able to relate to people and my patients,
Right.
and hopefully to
That's
encourage
awesome.
people.
Now, she had children, your sister.
My sister
How are
had,
they doing?
yeah, they're great. They're
Okay.
only one.
Oh, she had
I have
one.
a niece, and she's in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Her name is
Wow.
Marlene, and she's very successful out there. But once she grew up, she moved away and never came back. And so that's what I had planned on doing. I mean, being from Arcadia,
So tell us about that. When you were in high school and you were in your, were you the valedictorian, or you were one of the valedictorians, and you said, I'm not coming back to Arcadia?
Right. I actually graduated third in my class.
Awesome.
Out of 44. I was not the smartest. I was not. I wasn't the second smartest, but I graduated.
third,
I
which is
graduated
okay.
third. But I was very active, very athletic. I wanted to do everything, and I just participated in every activity that I could.
Okay.
And I just said, I don't know. I just didn't want to come back to Arcadia. I wanted to live in the big city. I
Right.
wanted to be, successful. I always wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
Always wanted to be a doctor, but not an eye doctor.
Okay.
Okay. I had aspirations to be a pulmonologist.
Wow.
I had actually done 7 years of lung cancer research and had published articles by the time I had graduated high school.
Wow.
On lung
That is
cancer.
amazing.
I went to the International Science and Engineering Fair and presented my research there, won several awards, money.
Wow.
Actually, back in the day, a company bought my own computer and a printer, and that
Wow.
was just something back then.
That's amazing. Yeah. There were very few computers like laptops then, so
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yes.
Wow. So what did you study at Louisiana Tech?
I majored in biological science, and then I have a minor in chemistry.
Okay. So along the way, you found your way to Memphis. Was that what happened? Or you had some time in between Tech and Memphis?
No, there was no time.
Okay.
Okay, there was no time. I was at Louisiana Tech, and again, I was aspiring to be a pulmonologist. That's what I wanted to do. And I had continued my lung cancer research once I got into Louisiana Tech. And of course, you have to apply to medical school. You have to take the MCAT. You have to do all those things. Did all that. My grades were good. I was involved at Louisiana Tech and scored high enough on the MCAT to get in. But then they do an evaluation where they assess your health. They assess you
Right.
from top to bottom, mental status, all of those things. And vision was one of them.
Wow.
And truly, I didn't pass the vision evaluation.
Really?
And they told me, they said, well, you have problems with your eyes. I said, I know. I said, I wear glasses, I wear contact lenses, but my doctor says I have 20/20 vision. And they're like, yes, but you don't have any depth perception. And I said, yes, I know that. I said, but I complained every year, and I didn't know that this was going to be a problem. And they said, well, in order to do surgery,
Right.
you're going to have depth perception.
Wow.
And I said, well, what am I going to do about that? And they said, well, you know, we're going to have to see. We're going to have to approach the board, and we're going to have to find out. And they came to a decision that they would allow me to go to medical school. However, I would be considered kind of handicapped.
Really?
And that I would not even be able to go through certain rotations, surgical rotations, due to my disability.
Wow.
So that was very devastating to me, Dr. Tobe.
Wow.
I mean, devastating, because no one in my entire life had said, you can't do this.
Right.
I had always done this.
Wanted to do something and did it.
Wanted to do that because my mother smoked.
Okay.
And I wanted my mother to quit smoking so bad. That was actually why my goal was
to be a
pulmonologist, so I could help my mother. And anyway, that door kind of closed. And they're like, well, you didn't pass the eye exam. And I said, well, just give me stronger contacts or glasses.
Right.
That's what they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, not in this situation.
Wow.
So I'll never forget, it was time for me to go get another eye exam. And so I went to have my eyes checked. But I decided this time that I was going to go to a new doctor, someone different, because I'd been seeing these people, and obviously they had not caught my problem. So I needed to get another opinion.
Second opinion.
And so I went to the eye doctor and let him do his examination. And at the end of it, I said, do I have problems like depth perception and things like that? He said, yes, you don't have any depth perception. And I said, well, why didn't you tell me that? What test determined that? I said, I've been going year after year to the eye doctor, and they just make my glasses stronger. I didn't know that depth perception was so important. And he's like, it's very important. He said, but not everybody checks for this. This is not just something that we check for routinely. And I said, but I've complained of double vision. I've complained of things. And he's like, well, in this area, there's not a lot of doctors who specialize in that area.
Wow.
So in that exam, I got pretty emotional, and I said, okay, well, maybe let me ask him some questions,
right,
and let me see what an optometrist does so I can kind of figure out if this is what I want to do. And I said, well, how much money do you make? I grew up poor, and I really want to be able to provide for my family,
right,
and I want to be able to do certain things,
right,
and be able to provide.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you work in a dark room, that's kind of strange. All I remember about the eye doctor was like, which is better, one or two? And I'm like, my personality really doesn't fit in a little dark room all day. So I'm like, how am I going to do this?
Wow.
And he's like, it sounds like to me that you would be a great optometrist.
Wow.
And I think you should learn more about the profession, and you can make it be whatever you want it to be. You could concentrate more on disease. You could concentrate more on,
right,
helping people know that they have depth perception, work with children, work with the elderly. He said this profession is very vast. It's not just glasses or contacts.
Wow.
So I really went to my car, and I had a little blue Plymouth Colt.
Okay.
I sat in that little blue that I paid for.
Okay.
Okay. I bowed my head and I prayed.
Wow.
And I said, dear God, I want to be a doctor, the doctor. I want to do that. But if that's not what you want me to do, then open up another door.
Oh, wow.
And in fact, he did.
Wow, praise God. That's
Praise
an awesome
God.
story. Your upset became your setup for your lift up.
Yes.
What they said
Yes.
was an upset. She took advantage of it. And that's a lesson for somebody, because the Bible says, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. Instead of getting upset with the system that didn't let her get into medical school, she saw an opportunity in the northeastern part of Louisiana for optometry, and you you pursued it, and that's how you got into Memphis, the Southern Eye Institute.
Yes.
Wow.
It was, okay, so it was only God, I want to tell you, because back when I graduated from Louisiana Tech and getting into optometry school, there are only 4 schools that will accept a Louisiana resident, okay? And Memphis, Houston, Alabama, and Missouri. And Missouri at the time wasn't even accredited, so that was kind of out for me. And so you have to take the optometry admissions test, known as the OAT, which is very similar to the MCAT or the LSAT for law students. And so you have to take this test, and you have to score a
Really
certain
well.
score, or you won't get in. I had 2 weeks, 2 weeks before I could get in,
Wow.
and it was a deadline. I took the test. I did well. I sent out my scores to the schools. I got invited to go to 3 schools for interviews, and I actually had it down between Houston and Memphis.
My
And
goodness.
again, I prayed, because at this time we were going to get married. I just
Oh.
graduated.
So you met your husband in Tech
I actually met my husband at Arcadia.
at Arcadia. Okay.
We were high school sweethearts.
High school sweethearts. Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
And so we had to get married before
Wow.
we moved to Memphis or before we moved to Houston. But it all worked out.
Praise God.
It just
Wow.
worked out. But I got in on the first time, and that doesn't always happen.
And that's a 3-year program.
It's a 4-year
4-year program.
And then you can stay for a residency up to 3 years after that to specialize.
But you always had a heart to come back to the northeastern part of Louisiana. What was your passion about coming back to this part?
Because I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be the best optometrist. I wanted to prevent problems.
Right.
I wanted to change things for kids like myself. There's such a need in our area.
Right.
You know, and I was that child.
Wow.
I was that child, and so I was like, we'll come back. You know, we did the analysis. Of course, we could have stayed in Memphis. We could have moved anywhere.
Nashville and all that.
But and my husband actually had a great job up there at that time. He wanted to stay.
Wow.
But our family was here,
Mm-hmm.
and so I said we need to come back.
And I can imagine there was no optometrist in Arcadia.
No.
So, I mean, to you it was almost like a pipe dream, because, you know, when you don't have a vision of people you can emulate or people you can look up to, I mean, you literally just charted your own course. You literally got this revelation and you decided to literally bulldoze your way into your future. That is a powerful, powerful, powerful testimony. Wow. So tell us, how long have you lived? You returned back, I don't know the date, but going back from Memphis, how long have you been in this part of Louisiana? I call it Northeast. I don't know if you live in Ruston or West Monroe or Calhoun. I know they're all the same, Northeast. But how long have you lived since you came back from Memphis?
We moved back from Memphis in 2000.
2000.
In
Wow.
2000. So I've been here in 2000, and at that time, we moved to Arcadia in a
wow.
very small little apartment, and we had a child.
Oh, praise
Actually,
God.
my first child was born in Memphis,
Wow.
Savannah.
Okay.
She's our only daughter. We have
Praise
3
God.
children, 2 boys.
I
And,
presume Memphis, was it at the University of Tennessee, Memphis? You gave birth to her there?
No, it was actually in
Baptists.
Cordova.
Oh, Cordova. Okay.
Cordova,
Okay. Wow.
Cordova,
Wow.
Bartlett area. So she was born in Tennessee, and so when we came back, we were looking for. We didn't know where I was going to practice, but I had been approached to actually join a group practice and to work in a hospital setting.
Okay.
So I was trying to explore my options of where I wanted to wind up, and so I'd got a position in Ruston with a group of doctors, and then I was asked to be at Willis Knighton Eye Institute
Okay.
and at the Homer Satellite Clinic at
Okay.
first.
Wow.
So I've kind of explored and looked at, commercial setting, a hospital setting, and as well as a group private practice.
And you have a very supportive husband, because he's willing to kind of make his way with your career. He's willing to. So that's a big support. So
Yes,
that's
it
amazing.
is.
Not everybody has that kind of awesome support system.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've been married 22 years
That's
last
awesome.
Friday.
Praise God.
So,
That's amazing. In America, that's a miracle right now. So we give God for the glory to the Floyd. So he's you told me he's a businessman.
yes,
He's a logger. He
yes,
does all kinds of business,
he has
property. Right.
Floyd Timber, and he does land clearing and development. So it's quite opposite of what I do.
Okay.
I work in the little dark room all day, and he's out in the weather. I mean,
Okay.
I don't even know what the weather's doing. He's out in the rain, in the cold, in the heat.
Wow.
And I'm in a
Wow.
controlled little dark room. So we're very opposite in certain things.
So right now, you guys still have like family in Arcadia? I
I,
guess you
I
don't. Your
don't.
father's family.
We're from Castor,
Okay.
and my mom's family was actually from Goldana.
And there's none of them in Arcadia right now.
None are in
Wow.
Arcadia, so I
Wow.
rarely go back. My husband's grandmother, Dorothy Culbertson, is still living,
Wow.
and she will be celebrating. I don't want to tell her age.
Okay.
But she's wonderful,
She's
and she's in Arcadia.
she's a Nanogorian, is that correct?
Yes.
She's in her 90s.
She's close.
Okay,
She's close.
wow,
We're- but she looks
worthy of
amazing.
celebration.
She looks amazing. So, and she's still playing the piano at the church.
Wow.
And at the nursing home there.
Praise God. That
Yes.
is awesome. I go to Arcadia pretty regularly. Very fun people, and I've been to the nursing home. So maybe when I go there, I'll give her my love. So
Yes.
give us an idea of the kind of home you grew up in. I'm just trying to get the background to Jennifer Floyd. I mean, you said your mom smoked cigarettes, but tell us about the Christianity in the home. Was there church? Was there reading of the scriptures? Was there things of that nature? I mean, your dad and mom, they lived together, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They were married. My mom was 13 when they got married, and they were together until my father died.
Okay.
My mother did not believe in divorce,
Wow.
and till
And she
death did
never
they part.
remarried.
She did after he
Oh,
passed.
okay.
She did, but they were together.
Of course.
And but we didn't go to church regularly. My father worked very hard.
Okay.
He worked for the highway department,
Okay.
and my mother stayed home
Wow.
with me. But she tried. Let me say that, but I didn't know all of the things that I know today, and how and. But I went to Bible school. I did go to church. My neighbors would take me to church.
Right, like
Yes.
summer camp and
Yes.
Bible camps and all that. Wow, that's
So I did do
fantastic.
that. And so, but as far as having something very consistent, I did not have that. And I did. I grew up Baptist, and but I had a missionary.
Okay.
And that would come into my office, and he would say to me, he says, "Jennifer, you're a Pentecostal. Your beliefs are Pentecostal." And I said, "I was raised Baptist, and I'm not,
Of
everybody,
course.
I
We
am."
love the Lord. Everybody,
doesn't matter.
Jesus
Yes.
is Lord. Yes, ma'am.
Amen. But he would say those things to me. And I went through some troubled times. And I was searching for another church. And actually, I started asking patients.
Okay.
In my practice, I said, "Where do you go to church?" And this is in one day. In one day, they came in, and there was 4 people. They said the Assembly West Monroe.
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Okay, what is happening with this church at Assembly West Monroe?" And they were like, "You've got to come." And I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go to church there." So I come home, and I told my husband, I said, "This Sunday we're gonna go to the Assembly West Monroe." He said, I told him, I said, "I don't care. We're all going. I don't know much about the church. I just had 4 patients tell me that we needed to
Go
go,
there, right.
and that we're going through some things." And he didn't always like to go to church. He didn't. And so I was like, but I wanted that for my family.
Right.
I do believe that it's very, very, very important. And so one of the girls that came in, it was the very last patient of the day, and she was sitting in my chair. She was 17.
Wow.
Carrie Hackworth.
Okay.
But
Not
anyway,
sure.
she goes to the assembly, or did, and now
Okay.
she's somewhere else. But anyway, I'll never forget that young girl, 17.
Wow.
She said, "My church is on fire for the Lord." There's
God.
supernatural things happening in our church.
Praise
And
God.
I said, I believe that.
Amen.
I believe in that.
Wow.
So we went and loved it,
I loved
and
it.
loved Pastor Shane
Wow.
and Sister Pam, and just
Amen.
started going to
Amen.
church and
You
with my
remind me of
kids.
Sister Pam a lot.
Oh, she's beautiful. Thank you.
Well, we're talking with Dr. Jennifer Floyd. I don't want you to know, I don't want you to think we're talking to a regular, just a pastor, because she's almost about to preach the wall, the paint of the wall about her testimony. Her testimony is amazing. If you didn't get the beginning of this show, you need to hear it. How she was born, how she was raised, and how she pursued her dream with excellence. This woman is not just a mother, she's also a wife. She's not just a wife, she's also an optometrist. She's not just an ordinary optometrist, she's an entrepreneur who owns her own business and has carved a niche for herself in the world of optometry here in northeast Louisiana. We're going to be talking to her because I believe there are lessons that the church can learn from women like Jennifer Floyd, women who have seen the backside of the desert but have refused to give up on their dream, women who have been, through the ringers but have refused to throw in the towel, women who still believe that God can use a woman even in this male-dominated medical environment. Yes, I'm a doctor. I can tell you medicine is male-dominated. There's a lot of testosterone. There's a lot of androgens. And it's hard for a woman to rise up the ladder of medicine. Even in America, there was no female physician until the early 20th century. It's hard to believe it. The first American woman physician was, I think, about 1909 or 1908. Because before then, there was women were not allowed to become doctors. Even I think there was a time in the 19th century women were not allowed to even vote. And I want to use this opportunity to challenge our young Christian women to see Miss Dr. Jennifer Floyd as an inspiration, as a motivation, as an example that God can take you from wherever you are right now to where He has called you to be. Don't stop believing. Don't stop trusting. Don't stop pursuing. Don't stop holding on. Don't stop running with God, because eventually the vision will speak. It will speak at an appointed time and God will give you the victory. We're going to continue this show. Dr. Floyd is going to tell us what entrepreneur optometry is all about. Yes, you heard it. It's a tongue twister, but entrepreneurial optometry, where you own an optometrical business and you help patients get the best out of it. She's going to be giving us the landmarks, giving us the foundations, giving us the blueprints for you to have your own successful business. This is Dr. Tobe and Dr. Jennifer Floyd telling you that Jesus is Lord. Don't miss our program next week. There's a better show coming up next week, even better than you can imagine. We're going to be praying for the sick, because just like God touched her, God can touch you as well. Look forward to seeing you next time. Don't forget, Jesus is Lord. Amen.